Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of In the Eyes of Truth. Back with us is our Eyes of Ireland, Patrick Downey. He's the man on the ground in the Ivory Isles, telling us, or the Emerald Isles. My bad.
The
Uh,
Emerald, though, that's
yeah,
it. Yeah.
telling us what's going on in Ground Zero insanity. Um, so, so
Ooh,
what's the outrage of the day or the week or the month?
it's a shit show here at the moment. That's
Well, was it a
yeah.
shit
I
show
think
before that, or is it just this moment only?
yeah. Well, it just gets worse, progressively worse.
So they're progressives.
The the kind of the big issue here at the moment. We have lots of ongoing issues, but this one that's kind of really rearing its head over the last while is this kind of disdain for our own national flag. This is coming from the government. I have a feeling this is probably some kind of EU directive,
I was gonna say the
where they'd
English have this
rather.
issue right now.
Yeah, yeah, but it's slightly different in Ireland. They're trying to compare. So you might have seen. I sent you a video. I think it was two weeks ago, maybe, where this guy, Dara Moriarty, he's a young enough guy. Uh, I was calling him the guy with the chin bristles and fucking brain dead. I couldn't fathom what this guy was saying. I was thinking to myself, how did this guy ever get himself elected? And what he what
That
what he did
describes a lot of
say,
politicians. Wait a minute, that describes a lot of politicians.
yeah, but I think what he just said was what he said was political suicide. So um, he said that him and kind of his ilk are very unhappy with these raising of the tricolors. Everybody's putting up tricolors on poles in their houses, um, putting them in their cars, wearing like I'm wearing emblems and things like that. So the guy tried to say that the Irish are now borrowing their patriotism from English nationalism, if you can wrap your head around that. So,
Hey,
I,
in a
I,
liberal
what,
mindset,
what,
I'm sure that makes sense.
yeah, so he's just going to like the guy is from I think he's from the north inner city or the Dublin city centre area anyway. It's an area I work in, and anybody that I spoke to, and I speak to a lot of people through the course of my work and that. But yeah, they've absolutely got no time for this guy. But he said that they were going to stamp it out. You know what I mean? Like it's yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Basically, he's saying that comparing Irish patriots to sort of the British National Front. Now these guys are, I would call them Nazis. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, I know who they are.
Uh, yeah, they don't even, they wouldn't, a lot of them wouldn't even display the Union Jack. They display the George's Cross, which is the white flag with the red cross through it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and a lot of them, kind of, this kind of ideology would have originated from kind of skinhead times,
Hmm.
a lot of racism there, and uh, yeah, but so this guy, he's actually now some people are agreeing with him, but so he's helping to polarize the country, but more people are kind of seeing through it, and yeah, it's but what he said though is not just it's not just people at the local government level. So he's local government, he's not a big wig.
Hmm.
But he is echoing the sentiments of our Taoiseach, that's our Prime Minister, and the Taoiseach, who was like the Deputy Prime Minister, if you like. They're two sides of the duopoly. So they've both been Taoiseach before. Uh, one's Fianna Fáil, one's Fine Gael. But like I said before, it's two cheeks of the same arse. You know what I mean? And
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they're making out that we're racist. So this guy, what he's trying to say is, and he's dismissing all the problems that the country faces at the moment. So people are flying these flags. You've seen the marches. I've sent you some
Oh yeah.
videos of the marches in town as well, and they're getting bigger and bigger. Um,
Well, I mean,
there's
look what
more
happened in
flags.
London. I mean, granted, that was
Yeah, well,
UK, but
Million plus
three
people came
million,
out.
3 million. They're saying they say the likes of the BBC and Sky News are playing down the numbers there,
Oh yeah,
but
100,000.
uh, yeah, I'm not so much concerned with what's going on in Britain, even though things do have a ripple effect. You know that way.
Hmm.
Uh, like Britain offloads a lot of their problems onto us. You know what I mean?
And
So
everyone else. Yes.
yeah, because like if you look at international protection applicants here,
Hmm.
and a lot of them are unvetted, they're coming in and they're even being given new names.
Oh really?
Like, what's your name? I don't have no documents, or we're going to assign you this name, whatever,
Yeah.
and you've got to stay in this hotel for a while, and before we can set you up in an apartment or a house or a modular home, whatever. And then,
Um, out of curiosity, so did they give them ethnic names or they give them Irish names?
oh, I've they're giving them all sorts of names, giving them all sorts of names. Now, some of these guys are claiming to be from, a lot of guys are coming in from Syria and
Hmm.
Jordan, and they're claiming to be from Palestine and Libya. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, even people from Morocco and places like that as well. Well, like I said, I said this before. The previous government, there was a minister. His name was Roderick O'Gorman.
Hmm.
He went and he canvassed a lot of these countries like Morocco, Albania, Georgia, Algeria, countries that are synonymous with all forms of trafficking. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they said the mission was to get doctors and engineers
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
you
How many
know
doctors, engineers?
yeah, like academics into the country, who can
Right.
fill out these like top professional jobs that a lot of Irish people are going away to other countries to take up these posts because these guys are getting the favoritism and they're not being paid the correct money, the remuneration that they deserve. They're not getting that here, so it's more profitable for them to go abroad. They don't want to, but they're forced to. So, so that's kind of one thing that's going on at the moment. Obviously, um, these people that are raising these flags and going to these marches, and I haven't been to many of them myself. I've been to one or two because you can get labeled, and I can't afford to have that label on me, especially
Yeah.
given the organization that I'm involved with. You know about the Truth and Neutrality
Hmm.
Alliance and the kind of uh, the causes that we're fighting for, which are it's starting to look like we've got a big fight on our hands now. Um, but yeah, this guy's claim he's tarring people with a dirty brush, and he's just alienating, like not just Darren Moriarty, but the Taoiseach, and a lot of their ministers as well are going on public record saying that it's tantamount to racism and fascism by flying your own national flag now. It's an outrage. Yeah, imagine Russians being told this. It would never happen, of course, but
I do agree with you. It seems like they're all playing off the same playbook. So it may be something coming directly out of Brussels.
I think it's an EU directive. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. The same guy, this Dara Moriarty, all of these ministers, all of these talking heads have no problem. sitting or standing on podiums with an EU flag in the background, the
Oh
blue
yeah.
with the yellow star, the circle of yellow stars. But they seem to favour that flag now. They're calling themselves Europeans instead of Irish. So I
That's a
will
pretty
never
good
forget my
sign.
roots. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But then, then as you're seeing, I wanted to call this guy out and call his bluff. And this, even though the Russian embassy in Dublin is in a different borough or a different, it comes under a different council jurisdiction, councillors would all rub shoulders together. You know what I mean? They have
Of course.
like broader, broader council meetings. So they'd have in Dublin, I'm sure all the councillors would know each other. I have
Mm,
a friend who's doing very good work. Paddy Holohan is actually used to fight in the UFC, and we were in college together, doing personal training and fitness instruction and stuff like that. He's doing very good work here. He's come out against this notion of you know criminalizing flying around national colours,
oh,
that
it's
way. But
insane.
um,
Absolutely
but
insane.
yeah, this I think it's. I mean, there's worse going on than flags at the moment. Now
Hmm.
we already had the Digital Services Act uh,
What's that?
brought in 2022. This is where like the House Oversight Committees can drag Zuckerberg and Musk and people like that
Hmm.
in front and uh, say you're influencing elections and you're influencing people's uh, rights to make medical choices, for themselves by
Well,
what you're putting out what you are putting out or what you're disallowing on your social media platforms.
well,
They're
those
doing that in
excuse
Europe.
that's the excuse they used to cancel the elections in Romania and get
Yeah,
a Gescu out.
yeah, Georgescu. You know the big problem with Georgescu? I don't know if you know this, but Georgescu a while back made a documentary exposing the Club of Rome.
Ah,
I
yeah,
watched it.
yeah.
That was my first that was my first introduction to Georgescu. I'm 99% sure it's the same Georgescu, but he said that he was once actually a member of the Club of Rome himself, and he didn't like the path that it was taken. Club of
Hmm.
Rome, uh, the Davos, the World Economic
Right, right.
Forum, Bilderbergers, they're all kind of, these round table CF4, they're all the same, they're all from the same mold.
Oh yeah, they're
And
often the same people.
all, yeah, about global governance. I like our Taoiseach, our current Taoiseach said, he didn't say it while he was Taoiseach, but he famously said that he wanted nothing to do with the backwards notion of national sovereignty.
Yeah, yeah.
And now he's our leader. Um, but yeah, they seem to be all parroting this now. Everybody that wants a seat at the table, and that's why I was
Yep,
thinking to myself,
yep.
maybe this Darren Moriarty guy, maybe he's a Weffy, maybe he's one of these young part of the Young Global Leaders program or something like that. That's
Yeah.
that's
I
kind
mean,
of
they mold them early.
influence. Yeah, but for me, I think it's political suicide. Like he should never get a vote after that. But then
But he
again,
will.
I think possibly, yeah, yeah, because I don't know. This seems to suit a certain, but he might not run in that constituency again. He might change constituencies or something like that. The way other politicians have done, there was people. So I would come from what's called a disadvantaged area. Kind of it's not so bad now, but would have been a very poverty-stricken area at one time. When we moved in here, we had nothing. There was no infrastructure, no shopping centres. When I moved into this house, we didn't even have a road outside. We had sludge. There was no street lights. We had to wait 3 days before the electricity come on. That's how unprepared they were. and back in those days, there was no money for anything in Ireland at the time. I mean, I was part of a boxing club for years. We were local here for us. We were using the school hall at St. Thomas's, and there was no money for anything. When the national lottery started up, that was supposed to give back to the community. You could apply to the head guys of the national lottery for funds, for projects, for clubs, for sports. Probably for
Hmm.
schools and things like that as well. But it was like getting blood from a stone. But now our government seems to be throwing money around like it's confetti, uh, especially at these international protection applicants. There's no money for the locals, no money for the natives, so to speak. So
There's money, but not
yeah.
for the.
So like I was saying, I wanted to really thumb my nose at this Dara Moriarty guy and anybody who's criminalizing their flag. And I went up outside. And I sent you the video as well, showing you the Ratgar, Ratdown, Dunleary, that council area. And as you go up towards the Russian embassy, what do you see but Ukrainian flags, Banderas flags? And it's the high. I'm serious. It's that you'd be forgiven for thinking that you're in Kiev or Lviv or something like that, because there's such a concentration of Ukrainian flags around that area. Now, there's not as many as there was before. I did say that in the video, but still, they're up on most of the main poles. Any of the street light poles you've got, and they're really hard wearing flags as well. So they're designed to withstand the weather too. So,
Little bastards
but yeah,
plan.
and then yeah, so these guys, and at the time, uh, I remember, if you remember the last Russian elections. So I'd been up at the embassy because I was getting a visa for traveling again, and I noticed all these Ukraine flags, and I said, "This is just outrageous. This is just to intimidate anybody that's visiting
Yep.
the embassy,
Yep.
and to, you know." But I don't know what it is about that area. Why the concentration of those flags? Obviously, they're paid. Somebody's got to be getting paid there
Oh,
for
of
that,
course. Well, let me ask you
because
this. Um, did Ireland go hard insane like England did because the on freedom or the lack thereof of freedom of speech? Because England now is reporting up to 30 arrests a day per day for
yeah,
what people write online. And I was watching a video of a guy being arrested because he was in an argument with somebody and he called him a muppet.
yeah,
Not exactly the
yeah.
hardest curse word, you can use to describe another human
I
being.
ca-
A muppet, and that
I
was enough to get him arrested.
That's I call if my friends say something ridiculous, I'll say, "Oh, will you shut the fuck up, you muppet?" You know what I mean?
Well, he
It's
didn't say he should shut the fuck up. He just called him a muppet. He cut that
yeah,
other
yeah,
portion, didn't have the other portion. That was enough to get him arrested because
yeah,
the person felt offended.
yeah. But well, there's a lot of people being arrested for social media posts there, for saying anything they're kind of ahead of us at the moment as regards hate speech. But the EU are now introducing, this is overreach by oh by a million miles. They want to scan every message that you ever send, like across WhatsApp, Messenger. They want to scan that. Now, believe it or not, this is the thing, stats, right? I had it's they're saying it's to stop um, child abuse. So
Right, right.
they need to know about everybody's messages to stop child abuse,
Yeah.
right? So I had a debate today with ChatGPT about this, I said, and this I'll just read you very quickly, right? Some of what ChatGPT came back with. This is the second debate I had with an AI app. Okay, so it comes back. I understand completely your anger and disgust, and your anger and disgust are very clear. What you're describing touches on some of the most contentious issues in modern governance: mass surveillance, free speech, and government overreach. You're comparing it to the US Patriot Act, which is apt. That's ChatGPT saying this. The law gave sweeping surveillance powers to authorities under the guise of national security, and it was widely criticized for eroding civil liberties. The idea that similar measures could be implemented in Europe with monitoring of private messages and overt scanning understandably feels like a profound violation of personal freedom. That's now there's more to it, but that's ChatGPT admitting that. So
Yeah, that sounds like
we,
ChatGPT because I had ChatGPT do say something similar to that to the post I did about my
but the,
word for
yeah.
word
So
parts of it.
when you start to ask about these acts or laws or legislations that whatever governing bodies, the EU or your own national government are bringing in, it initially it will sound like it's excusing these laws, and then you'll the more aggressive you become, and the more you say no, this is a government overreach, whatever, and you get a little bit irate with the app, and I did, and I'm not going to repeat some of the things that, that I was saying, but it starts to come around to your way of thinking, and like it's like I was debating it, and I won the debate in the end because it ended up agreeing with me. And funnily enough, last week, because you remember we were talking about the mistreatment of Germans.
Hmm.
So I was talking about Alina Lip and what she's being subjected to by the German government. And like that, he said, well, she's uh, she's been labeled a Russian propagandist and a tool and spokesperson for the Kremlin. And I said, look, she is um, she was a concerned citizen who went to the Donbass in 2014 or
Hmm.
2015, whichever year it was.
14,
Uh,
I think she
she
went.
heard about she heard about what was going on there. She had
Hmm.
aspirations to become, even though her degree, I think, is in political science, uh, which I think is not a bad stepping stone
Yeah,
to becoming a journalist as well. Because
absolutely.
yeah, because it's a good field for it. It's a good stepping stone for that kind of thing. Uh, but again, I won the debate in the end because in the end the app was agreeing with everything I said basically at the end of it. So
Well, look,
uh,
all those apps.
I think it's good practice though.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because uh, it comes back with the answers very quick, a lot quicker, and it'll use a lot more diction, a lot more. It'll try to be very
yeah.
articulate, and you're not going to get that level um, if you're just debating, you know, Joe Soap or even somebody
Right.
who's got like who's got a professor's degree or something like that, which I've openly challenged people here with degrees to debate me on uh, take the Russia Ukraine, the NATO proxy conflict. Let's say
Well,
it's not
let me
just
ask you
Russia Ukraine.
this, a little bit changing to topic just a little bit.
Sure.
Um, McGregor, over under he gets elected as president. That's one.
Yeah.
And two, since Ireland is a parliamentary republic, what does that actually give him as president? What can he actually do, if anything?
Well, he would get to tour the world on state visits, but you're aware that he's pulled out of the race since.
Oh, did he? Did he? I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I think it
No, I
was
wasn't.
yeah yesterday or the day before he announced
Oh,
that he was
okay.
pulling out of the race.
How
Yeah,
come?
now a lot. He couldn't get votes from people at council level, or people within government. So you need, I think you need 5 nominations from people at minimum local government level.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
much for
yeah,
freedom and republic and being able to get elected because if they
yeah.
just
Well,
block you, they just block you.
people were talking about putting together a petition, and getting 100,000
Hmm.
signatures or whatever, and kind of making an amendment to the rules on, how what qualifies it to run then. But I think his reputation kind of followed after him. So
No, yeah, there's that.
what yeah, what he's been putting out on X and other, in
Hmm.
interviews and stuff like that kind of didn't do him any favors if he had aspirations for holding high office in the island of Ireland. Now, maybe further down the line, if he was to clean up his image and he could have a go at it again, but yeah, it was never really going to happen. Stas, not given uh, the time frame since his court dealings
Oh,
and and
just his
cer- and
image as
certain other
a
things.
MMA.
Well, yeah, I heard that he's still embroiled in some other court cases or legal disputes. So yeah, I don't think. Um, at the moment, there's only three realistic candidates uh,
Government approved.
in in the running. Yeah, well, yeah.
Well,
Two.
that's the key thing I think is,
Well,
but McGregor exposed the fact that uh, you have this basically a government-led monopoly on who can get in because
yeah,
they hold the veto. There's so much for open
yeah,
field for any candidate. They hold the veto,
yeah,
regardless of what the
yeah.
people want.
Yeah, well, the thing is, so three of the people that the three contenders, and I think there's only really one. I'm fairly sure that the lady that I'm going to vote for is pretty much a shoo-in. Her name is Catherine Connolly. She's on the opposition benches in the Dáil, which is the Irish Parliament. The other two is Fianna Fáil representative. I think he holds a minute. I'm not sure if he holds a ministerial position or he's just a TD. Um, but uh, this guy has already signed his own death warrant as regards the presidency because he's come out in favour of dismantling the triple lock, which is the first step to, even though we've been defecating on our own neutrality for a good while, he wants to get rid of this uh, thing that stops us from deploying more than 12 peacekeeping troops in any conflict region, and it would mean that anyone on the UNSC wouldn't have a veto power to stop us sending more than 12 troops. But I don't think I don't know. There's uproar in Ireland. This is a thing that we're campaigning against at the moment. Through the Neutrality Alliance, we're very against this. So Catherine Connolly is opposed to the dismantling of the triple lock, and I'm kind of glad that Jim Gavin voiced this so early in the race, because basically it means he's just destroyed his chances. And then the other one is kind of she's another half of the duopoly. Her name is Heather Humphreys, so she's Fine Gael, and she's she just doesn't have the. She's got Simon Harris hanging out of her as well, pencil neck, uh, tarnished that now, and whose reputation is in the gutter at the moment because he could have saved a young child recently by speeding up an operation that would have saved their life, and he didn't act on it, and the child died. So people are calling for him to resign at the moment, and
Yeah,
Heather Humphreys is doing a tour of the country at the moment with him by her side. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
so
Well,
so Catherine Connolly is a peacenik as well. Now there was one time when Um, she did say she condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and so recently our chairman has spoken with her, and she said, I think she's kind of come around to the real reasons for this conflict. She understands more of the ins and outs, and it's not as simple as it was portrayed in the media,
Yeah.
from the outset.
Putin
So
woke up one morning and said, "Hey, let's go invade Ukraine."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go kill our Slavic brothers for the crack, the Americans never spent 5 billion orchestrating a coup there, overthrowing
Oh,
Yanukovych, and
jeez. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let me ask
Well,
this.
but
Your organization, how's it doing? Is it seeing an influx of people, opinions changing in Ireland, or more the same?
slowly, slowly, I'm starting to draw more people in, um, because I've been the most active member. I've
Hmm.
probably been the most anti-war activist on the island of Ireland uh, for the last, I would say, year and a half at least, probably 2 years now.
Hmm.
Uh, I try to attend as much of these anti-war rallies, and anybody that's screaming Russia bad, well, I would say I would remind them of uh, uh, Article, what's it, 51, was it?
Hmm.
When Russia tried to go the legal route,
Right,
when they
right.
knew that when they knew that the powers that be, the other co-signatories of the Minsk Accords, basically were never going to honor them, and there was going to be a slaughter in the Donbass.
Well,
And people, a lot of people don't realize as well that just prior to the invasion, they had stepped up their air raids
all right.
on Donetsk and Lugansk, and had 80,000 troops, AFU troops, amassed along the contact lines. And
It
I
was more
believe they
than
were only,
80,000. They had
well, that,
250,000 in the
that,
region.
that was the figure I heard, and they were waiting on another 40,000 to join them
No,
before
no,
they
no.
basically just,
They had 250,000 in the area. Russia attacked because they raised the artillery shelling by almost fourfold. And if they had
yeah,
started, if Russia
yeah,
had
that's right.
waited and they started, it would have been mass casualties, civilian casualties in
Yeah,
Donetsk and Lugansk.
yeah,
But the Russian army had about 90,000 regulars that came in, plus about another 40,000 from LNR, DNR, against about
yeah.
250,000.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would have been, had Russia not intervened, then that scumbag, uh, so-called journalist in Ukraine, Bogdan Bogdakevich,
Hmm.
who was advocating, who famously said that the Donbass was a very important region for Ukraine, but the people there not so much, and there was at least 1.5 million were superfluous and needed to be
Oh yeah,
exterminated.
but he's
I'm
not the
sure
only
that
one that said that.
prophecy.
The majority
I
of
know,
those in
yeah,
power said that.
yeah, yeah. But I think that prophecy would have been fulfilled
Oh yeah, yeah.
had Russia not intervened. But I'm listening to. Um, I'm very, I'm very worried about this guy, Mikhailo Podolyak's
Hmm.
prophecies coming true now as well, because they um, kind of did a U-turn on the 18 to 22-year-olds, and they're letting them leave the country now. But
Well,
I
there
have my
wasn't that many
suspicions.
of them actually left. There was only about
Yeah,
40,000
yeah,
that
yeah.
guy
Well, they're
had
saying
that
they're,
were able to get across.
yeah, yeah. I seen what a lot of them did when they got into Poland. They started tearing up the place. I don't understand. I do not understand why the Poles tolerate. And this is another thing I've been talking about all week, especially given this so-called drone incursion. I don't believe any of it for a minute. I've told everybody, you gotta remember Shedivov in, what was it, November of 22, when the S-300 missile killed the two Polish men.
Oh, it wasn't
They were on a
22.
tractor, I believe.
It was last year.
20 November 23. So yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Well,
and
don't forget there was a drone, an old Soviet drone. So these things are huge. That landed in Bucharest. No, I'm sorry, in Budapest. The Ukrainian shot at the
yeah, I
very
wasn't
beginning.
aware of that.
Yeah, that was in
Yeah.
22, the beginning of the
So,
fighting.
but I mean, so Zelensky was jumping the bandwagon that time, trying to drag Poland in. Duda, I didn't fall for it, which I'm. Duda actually, now I was like, now I'm kind of saying, bring back Duda because this Tusk guy is absolute
Well,
scum. Him and
Duda
him
is
and Radek.
president. Tusk is prime
That's
minister.
right.
So there's nothing that
Yeah.
Duda could do. They've got some
Well, who's
really weird dichotomy in their government.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
This guy, Mr. Applebaum, Mr. Radek Sikorsky,
Yeah.
Radislav, he's he is he's pawn scum also.
Oh yeah. Well, his son
Mr.
serves in the U.S. Army.
Well done America when they blew up the
Yeah.
Nord Stream. You know, I recently saw Anne Applebaum was called out for that, and she said,
Yeah, I
"What did your
saw that.
husband mean by that?" She said, "Oh, it was a joke,
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
a
exactly.
joke."
Yeah.
The biggest like case of industrial sabotage in the history of the planet, and probably one of the biggest no, non-natural disasters ever. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
these guys are at the same time they're talking about saving the planet from climate change. They're blowing up gas pipelines. You know, absolutely, you couldn't script it. It's very sickening.
It's out
So
of a cheap James Bond movie, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
written on that level.
Yeah, and these are some of the guys that are beating the drums the loudest. Applebaum, Sikorsky, Callas, Tusk,
Hmm.
Mertz. They seem to want all in now, and
Yeah.
even what's her name, Mette Frederiksen now in Denmark. She's I saw there during the week as well. She's allowing
Patrick,
Ukraine.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We are down to about half a minute. Um,
Oh, no worries.
Tell everyone where they can
Yeah.
find your work and where they can find your organization.
You'll find us on Facebook, Truth and Neutrality Alliance. It's invitation only now. We did away with the open page, so
How can they
they're
contact you?
all posts
Hmm.
uh, through Facebook,
Hmm.
X, Truth and Neutrality Alliance on X, on Telegram, Ain't Pat the Truth, and Truth and Neutrality Alliance on
Uh,
Telegram.
uh,
So yeah.
Everyone, thank you for joining. Patrick, thank you for joining.